And we're under a severe weather alert. The storm system has caused flooding up and down the New England coast. Check out this video right here. This is York, Maine. Coastal flooding, Short Sands Beach to be specific, led to entire roads being covered during high tide this morning. We also saw that in Narragansett and Charlestown here locally. Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca joins us now. I know the roads are wet, they're going to dry out. You would think that's a good thing, but not quite.
I mean, we've got these gusty winds that'll dry out the pavement, but the air is extremely cold as well. Most of the pavement should dry out, but there may be some residual moisture, maybe some isolated icy spots. So be mindful of that if you're traveling later in the evening and during the overnight. Mike showed you some of that storm surge in York, Maine, and quite simply, this is the same thing that can happen in a hurricane. Now, obviously, we didn't have hurricane force winds, but we had winds pushing against the coastline this morning during an astronomical high tide of 60 miles per hour. So quite simply, you're taking the water and you're just pushing it towards the coastline, a strong onshore wind, and you're taking that water and you're pushing it up Narragansett Bay. So even bay communities as far north as Bristol and into Providence had some flooding due to the astronomically high tide. Winds pretty much falling into where we were expecting out of this storm, anywhere from 50 to almost 65 miles per hour. Scattered damage and power outages, and still very windy and still getting some strong gusts, close to 60 out in Nantucket. So the high wind warning continues till 9 o'clock, but even beyond 9 o'clock, it'll still be windy, but the magnitude will come down. So with these kind of winds, we can still get some scattered outages out there this evening. Temperatures are still well above freezing, and that's good. We need some time for that pavement to dry out, but there may be some residual moisture in some spots, and we do anticipate a huge temperature drop coming up in just the next 2 to 3 hours. So while it is still relatively mild here in southeastern New England, look at this plunge of air, of very cold air, frigid air just to our west. So you look right here on the bottom of the screen, flash freeze. In other words, the temperature drops rapidly. Maybe some problems on the road. I don't think it's widespread, but there is the possibility of at least some patchy ice here and there. But watch how the temperature just drops hour by hour this evening and during the overnight. There's really nothing gradual with that temperature drop. By 6 in the morning, that's not a wind chill, the actual air temperature at 13 degrees. So the green represents some leftover light rain showers. Strong cold front really means business as far as knocking down the temperatures this evening and during the overnight hours. As we take a look at the numbers one more time, you can see that blast of colder air off to our west. In fact, let me show you the progression of this, and watch how these numbers are dropping rapidly this evening and during the overnight. Around midnight, 16 with a wind chill down to 0, and then here we are tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. I mean, that is the best we can do, is 20 degrees, nowhere near the freezing mark. So despite a mainly dry day, with the exception of the South Shore, you'll get a little bit of light snow. It is absolutely frigid. So we're getting real close, and we take a look at the forecast this evening, but the cold front coming through, some scattered snow showers. But what's interesting is what we call ocean effect snow. So in other words, overnight tonight through really all of tomorrow, most areas are actually dry, with the exception of right along the immediate South Shore, with a very cold air mass passing over the relatively mild ocean waters. You get what is called ocean effect snow showers, and this will continue. Look at this, just kind of straddling like places like Route 1 and westerly, the very southernmost area of Washington County, right on through tomorrow night. So the net result, while most of us are actually dry and the ground is bare, along the South Shore and the southernmost part of Washington County, Newport County, and even out towards New Bedford, small accumulations of snow, anywhere from a coating to an inch or two. But real narrow, very localized. It's more the exception rather than the rule. But be mindful of that. If you're traveling very late at night and into tomorrow, especially along, say, Route 1 and along the South Shore, it may be kind of sort of a different scenario there. But for tonight, very windy, frigid, with rapidly falling temperatures. There may be a few icy spots, but shouldn't be too widespread. But be mindful of it. Frigid both tomorrow morning, very windy and cold. Temperatures struggle to get to freezing. So only about 25 for the afternoon high, but at least it's dry. It is looking cold and dry for Christmas Eve night for Santa, and Christmas Day is sunny, but very cold and dry with temperatures in the upper 20s. So good news with Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We don't have any storms, but it is quite cold and it is quite windy. In the meantime, get ready for a bitter blast of cold air next several hours.